there is that video on YouTube that I found, and it's called Why No One Likes Elden Ring Invasions, and that's a video essay. I started watching it, and this video essay seemed quite interesting because it is perspective of essentially someone that is playing pretty much only co-op. So yeah, let's jump into it because I'm honestly very interested what the guy has to say.
Bro, what the hell happened to Soulsborne PvP? The Soulsborne inspired PvP system has always fascinated me. It works differently in Elden Ring compared to other Souls games made by FromSoft, but to make a long story short, it's forced PvP. Now, one might wonder, why would anyone actively enjoy being forced into PvP? Ironically, a lot of invaders wonder why people hate being invaded so much. Well, if you can't understand why that sadistic invader did you like that, think of it as a sort of hazing, I guess, maybe that's just how I'm coping. Back then, we used to get invaded even while playing solo. Some of us had to play the whole game without ever using our humanity. Rune arcs for you guys. But to be honest, I don't even know how we managed, bro. But to break it down, the best part about Soulsborne PvP to me is the novelty. Invaders are basically meant to be some extremely hard random boss encounter, like when Mr. X from Resident Evil shows up, but with a twist.
That's pretty cool drop, not gonna lie.
You can be that hard boss fight for somebody, or somebody else can be that hard boss fight for you.
Okay, so this is actually a thing I want to interrupt for a second. There is that ultimate, maybe not ultimate, like, it's the wrong word. There is that belief that some parts of community share, like, it's in fact a myth, as if Miyazaki, in one of the interviews, said that invaders are destined to lose, as they are like just practically regular mob on the way to the boss encounter for the average player, and that's like essential like design of Elden Ring, which is complete misquote. What is closer to what Miyazaki said in that interview is that invader is that powerful roaming enemy, and yeah, this is here our dude like says an invader is that powerful boss, and it's pretty much way more accurate than this kind of downplaying way of looking at invaders. I'm only mentioning it because you have a lot of literal morons that just often flood my comments of other people saying that why you are even bringing an argumentation of invasions and invaders supposed to lose. That's what Michael Zaki said. No, they are not supposed to win against the boss. You are not supposed to beat the enemy. You are going to do so if you deserve to do so.
And because of this human element that you just simply never know what you're gonna get. It could be some basement dweller who you realistically have zero chance against. If he's naked, you just run. If he's naked, run.
No, if he's naked, you take dagger and you obliterate the guy for being dumbass enough to not wear any poise.
Fair, maybe even an unfair high stakes duel where you just lose or win by a narrow margin. Like, I once took on 2v1 in Dark Souls 3 and I didn't think I could do that. It could be an invader who doesn't feel like invading.
I heard about this specimen.
It could be just a massive troll.
I mean, imagine you going through the game for the first time and you see something like this. Like, isn't it adorable? How can you be upset at invasions being a thing, dude?
Up on the tables or what?
Oh, yeah. I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
But it's not about the actual PvP for me, since Dark Souls PvP is pretty jank.
I guess the guy just complains about latency.
Like, it's about the context around the fight. Like, a lot of the time invasions are a pain, but sometimes it can create a gaming experience you will literally never forget.
Oh, I didn't see the guy. What? Just now I noticed. It's actually, like, before we're gonna continue with the video, that's something worth of mentioning, I guess. The reason why I, for one, absolutely adore PvP in Souls games is that it is infinite gameplay loop. I love to play my games for the excellent amount of time. I like when the new content being added to the game, but I especially like when the game is designed in the way so the content is infinite, and this is exactly what PvP is. Same goes for the co-op. Content is infinite there because there is no two invasions that look in exactly the same. That randomness, that aspect of unexpected potential scenarios you jump into, unaware what awaits you, is amazing.
Even funnier is the extremists and the moral dilemma it creates. There's two people in this world. There's jolly co-opers and there's those who have strayed from the grace of God. But these extremists take it to a different level. You have what this community calls gang squads, which is just their term for getting the JJK beats. I'm assuming these guys got their ass handed to them too many times by invaders and it became their like origin villain story. And now they just wait around Limgrave or somewhere endlessly trolling unsuspecting invaders for all eternity.
The guy talking about
the
gankers.
Behavior. Okay, like, you do you, but that's kind of weird. And then there's the twinks. These guys are something else. They dedicate whole accounts to farming specific gear. They got spreadsheets on how and when to invade. They know the tech. They know how to roll catch, they call it. They backstabbing.
The guy is really overestimating what average twink looking like in Souls games.
They've mastered all of it. They're out here throwing scarlet rot pots at like level 20 players. It's just like, what are we doing here, bro? And what's even funnier is like the psychological and moral dilemmas that the game brings about and brings out of people. Like, for instance, a lot of invaders feel like when they invade worlds, they'll see a lot of overpowered summons or people with weapons they shouldn't really be having at that point in the game. So those, oh, you have 2 Vike spears in Limgrave at level 40? Not on my watch, buddy. And they're like, take personal offense to that. There's some people who cannot stand co-opers, and there's some people who will never invade somebody in their life unless it's for the Moog quest line. And then even then they just return to their world right after. So, you know, people have different perspectives and they clash. It's interesting. The earlier Dark Souls games kind of dabbled in covenant systems for this. Like, you would join a covenant and it would more accurately represent what type of player you were. Like, if you're a straight invader, there was a covenant for that. If you kind of felt like helping newer players survive the onslaught of invasions, you could like be somebody like that. You could be an invader who only invades other invaders. They should bring covenants back. That's a huge missed opportunity. What's even funnier is there was...
Oh, the covenants, dude. Oh, I need to show you something. Fuck. Look at that. This is translation from one of the interviews. And Miyazaki basically says that the covenants in Dark Souls series are not present in this game. The network elements of the game were designed to lower the bar as much as possible and make it easier to match up players, such as signs, and the covenant system doesn't really fit in well with that. And holy shit, dude, this is actually such a absolutely terribly sad approach in my eyes, because they basically want to simplify the system, but everyone wants covenants. This is just misunderstanding of what would be a good simplification of the systems, and what is something that just simply takes away a content that actually people want. It's not only PvP players, it's PvE players, it's people that play, you know, even solo. Like, you know, how cool was the Covenant of Champions for one in Dark Souls 2. It was a pretty cool thing. It was another way of playing the game where everything has raised difficulty and you're getting actually rewards for beating the game by just playing on that increased difficulty. It was super cool. Such a shame. Like I think that actually shows how Michael Zaki, the powerful almighty god of Souls games, sometimes do not understand what his own folks actually want.
Even etiquette and rules behind, like unspoken rules behind how people used to fight in these games throughout the years. Like, for instance, I spawned in Anne Orlando, Dark Souls 3, to a bunch of people just sitting around watching each other fight. There was 2 people fighting and 3 people watching, I think. And I didn't really know what was going on. I kind of figured this was some type of tournament, right? Like a shonen TV show. So I didn't respect it.
The dudes went into the fight club.
And I was like, let's fight. So I randomly spawned somebody, and bro, those 5 people gave me the JJK beats. I was laughing so hard. Came into another tournament in Anne Orlando, learned my lesson, waited for my turn, was fighting. My health got low immediately. What did I do? Natural reaction. I drink the orange juice. That's what I always do when my health's low. And I got the JJK beats again. So I guess we're not allowed to heal, right?
Oh my god, this is actually great, dude. The PvP rules explained in the most harsh way. Oh, this is so great, man. I love it.
I learned these things just through the game, and it was all natural, and there's something really special about how that happened, but Elden Ring just kind of shat on all that. When Elden Ring arrived, it was massively flooded by all the new players, and all that etiquette just went out the window. Does anyone remember rune farming?
Rune farming? As we are looking at the cheater here.
Bro, watch your jet. Watch your jet, bro. Watch your jet!
What the fuck?
Oh, Elden Ring's PvP, all that Covenant.
Okay, so that footage was unrelated to what he was talking about, like the AFK farming is just something that he mentioned.
Roll catching, etiquette, all that stuff can simply be narrowed down to spamming L2. I don't even be emoting on them or teabagging or anything. I just feel bad for, like, try again, man. You'll get me next time, bro. Don't give up. Keep that Dark Souls PvP alive, because I couldn't do it.
That's actually so true, though. Like the game, the state of the game currently with Ashes of War is fucking sad in the hindsight if you are looking at games like Dark Souls 2 or Dark Souls 3. Like individual skill in Dark Souls 2 was so incredibly overwhelming that if I, for example, invade in Dark Souls 2, there is no way I lose unless I'm just going to troll hard. It's literally, I can play with the most shit of meta, but the difference between like skill floor and the skill ceiling in that game is just so fucking gigantic. Aside from like how much advantages invaders can have in Dark Souls 2, but that's also like topic for another video or another time.
As a jolly co-opper, PvP is still, you know, as tough as ever with the DLC, so I'm still doing my thing, but these invaders just be dying left and right. And when they are good, they're usually using some sort of like cheesy tactic of running around the level, using all sorts of weird tactics like the other AI enemies or like levers of things and all these random stuff to just, as annoying as a pest as possible. Where I used to feel like invaders were that scary boss fight, now it feels like they're either some annoying mosquito you have to swat away, or it's some annoying wasp that is just, you don't want any part around you.
That's such an important take, by the way. Imagine if literal PvEer says something like that. It's not fun for this guy to be in situation where invader is pretty much just a nuisance rather than something exciting. And this is all because of the way how the game is designed. Invader, no matter the skill level, cannot engage in like 1v3 combat freely unless the difference in the skill level is just overwhelming. But usually it's just absolutely not the case. It's usually even not matter of skill at all. Because of this very spammable system that we have in this game, where just you have all these AoE, such as of war, like multi-hit attacks and so on, you ending up in the situation where invader just have to be very careful and just, well, the gamer here said cheesy tactics. It is absolutely true. If you want to play invasion optimally, the best way for you to do that is to jump onto that freaking ladder, like preferably very long ladder, just go on top of that when the other guys are on the lower level, just wait for them to start climbing and then use rain of arrows and just kill them just like that in one go. Because otherwise, if you're gonna go to them, you put yourself on the disadvantage and you're probably going to die. You cannot really like properly turn and burn or anything. Just if you're gonna attempt to do so, you're also probably going to die. It just really feels like the artificial difficulty for invaders in form of, well, pretty much very spammable movesets in Elden Ring is causing insane disproportion to the point that no one has fun when it comes to this system. And it's really something that I hope From Software is going to look at in their future productions. I don't know if that's gonna be Elden Ring 2 or whatever is going to be successor of the Souls games, because the system that they cooked in Elden Ring is just inferior to Dark Souls 3. And here is the thing, like Dark Souls 2, for example, yeah, Dark Souls 2 had invasion system that was, in my eyes, a little bit too invader-sided. Once you actually became like very good at the game, you ended up just like swiping hosts without an effort, and they are phantoms, and it was just also not very fun, or at least it is not very fun to me. I think Dark Souls 3 had the best balance, where you was that mosquito, kind of similar like you are in Elden Ring, yeah? Like when multiple people jump at you at once, well, you are probably not winning. Thing is though, the entire multiplayer sessions in Dark Souls 3 were focused around the fact of you getting also help as an invader from other covenants or from other invaders. So it ends up in situation where you're fighting, like, for example, in 3 versus 2, and then like 2 red men have to be actually respected. And I think that was the best system. I think that was literally like the most interesting one. You had, even because there is more people involved, you had even more situations where some random and funny and cool can happen. And yeah, I think Elden Ring just completely missed on the opportunity to build up on the system that was already working and was already very good. They wanted to clearly simplify the entire system, and they went too much with that oversimplification, didn't realize what was the key factor to what made that multiplayer experience actually fun. And yeah, I really hope yet again that they are going to improve upon that system in the another title.
And with the Duelist Arena added, there's really no need for any of those Duelist rings. The addition of all these crazy DLC Ashes of War, it's just a joke at this point. What's cool is at least whenever I see the new Ash of War, which is pretty much daily, I'm like, damn, I've never seen that move before, but that's pretty much it. If I had my way, it would work more like Dark Souls 3, like you could be invaded if you used your rune arcs. I don't even use my rune arcs anymore because of the PSD of Dark Souls 3. I still somewhere in my heart believe that if I use my rune arc, somebody's gonna invade me, so I just don't be using those things. But I feel like that should activate invasions. I feel like there should be covenants. Still, somehow I see the videos of PvPers and they're still PvPing, so maybe it's not accurate to completely say why nobody likes Dark Souls or Elden.
No. Listen, my friend, you are onto something. It's not like that every single person is going to hate on PvP, but I can assure you that if I wouldn't be a content creator, I wouldn't be playing these games right now. Or at least not as much as I do, yeah? So content creation is essentially something that I do for 2 years since the release of Elden Ring. I am focusing pretty much exclusively on the PvP, or almost exclusively. And I can assure you that like the amount of hate that people have towards PvP is immense, and it just mostly people do not really have alternative to go anywhere else. Elden Ring is the only game of this type that has this type of invasions. We could always go back to Dark Souls 1 to earn 3, but all of these games got a significant blow to the activity ever since release of the Elden Ring. So there is not much of the choice, realistically. On top of that, Elden Ring is a very good game. It has probably like one of the worst, if not the worst, multiplayer systems out of all of these games, but for example, mechanics Like the additional jump attacks, crouch attacks are just superior to other games, and they feel very, very nice. So like because of these things, people just want to continue playing these games and just kind of, you know, sit there hating on the PvP, but at the same time, out of lack of possibility to play anything else that would feel like this, they just continue on playing that garbage. And that's pretty much it. Like, we all want PvP to change for the better. The previous patch 1.10 brought the PvP to interesting field. There were like many changes that gave a lot of people hopes, and the DLC patch a year after the last patch just ended up crashing a lot of hopes because they just completely missed the mark with a lot of things. Actually, you have to be fair and give the credit where credit is due. They also fixed a lot of stuff, but they made like a 2 steps forward, 6 steps backwards, and didn't implement changes that PvP community really wished to see. Like 6-player limit or rework of Thunderstone that is just completely fucked at the given moment in the way how it can be abused, and just it is a tool of griefers pretty much.
Elden Ring's PvP. It's more like why people only tolerate Elden Ring's PvP.
Yes.
But that wouldn't make a good video title, would it? Basically what I'm trying to say with this video is nerf Swift Step, nerf it again. I know they nerfed it. Nerf it again and again until it falls off a cliff. That's all I gotta say.
Dude, this is so freaking insane when you are listening to people of this type. Yet again, we are dealing here with essentially absolute PvP casual, someone that is just playing co-op with friends or with randoms, going through the game, having fun in such way. And he is saying pretty much same shit like every single PvPer does. Like, this is absolutely amazing. So many people have same complaints in common, yeah? Actually shows how unfortunate it is that From Software clearly doesn't have very good way of communicating with the community, because pretty much everyone and their mother has a very similar approach to these games and what they think would be fun and what's not. Very good video. I enjoyed it profoundly. I'm gonna drop the like, maybe even sub, and yeah, GG. Good video.